2 to the wire. Mongolian win takes the 72nd running of the Manitoba Derby.
And welcome everybody to another special edition of ASD Live. It's Kentucky Derby time. We get to see these 3-year-olds at the pinnacle of their campaign, and what a race that'll be. Myself, Marshall, and Stretch will be tackling the Kentucky Oaks coming from Churchill, which will be on Friday evening, and then we're going to carry on to Saturday's race card. And we're going to culminate with the Derby. We're going to start at race number 7. So we'll have some pick 6 plays in there and then end off at race number 12, which is the Derby. Guys, Kentucky Derby time. Is there any different strategies that you guys like to use or things that you kind of look for before making your wagers? Let's start with you, Stretch.
Okay. I was just before I answer that question, I'll kind of let Marshall touch base on that. Yeah, it's an exciting weekend. You always look forward to this, especially when you're in Manitoba. Live meet is right around the corner, and so that's kind of the kickoff to the summer season, you could call it here. Going from there, if you happen to see our last show, you'll notice when we're talking about the different races, we picked some winners, and then we kind of got missed out on one race because we missed the race shape. So that's something to watch for us. Because of the race shape, we all kind of got wrong on that. Watch for that today when we discuss the races. If we can't figure out the races or the race shape, be wary of our selections from there. But Marshall has something to say about betting strategy.
Yeah, thanks, Stretch. We've got the biggest day of betting basically of the year. So there's lots of great betting opportunities. I just want to kind of point out that these are full fields. You should get lots of value. Make sure to play within your means, obviously. If you have a betting strategy in place, write out your bets beforehand. If you find that you don't have the budget to play the pick 5 that you were thinking, because you want to include so many horses, maybe you take a look at the pick 4, or if you have a pick 4 ticket, scale it back, maybe play a pick 3, so that you can spread out in some of the legs, because there will likely be some good payouts and tons of money being bet into every pool. So just have a strategy for the day or for the 2 days, and hopefully you'll hit some big plays.
No doubt about it, Marshall. Let's kick this off. We're going to the Friday night race, the Kentucky Oaks. 3-year-old fillies going to tackle 1 mile and an 1/8. Stretch, you're going to start us off in here.
Okay, I like this race, especially hopefully make some money on this race and be all set for Derby Day. I think there's 2 solid contenders in here. I believe that if the 10 or the 6 don't win, for me it's a bit of a surprise after that. So I'll start with number 10. This horse was on my stable list 2 starts ago when the horse was in New York. If you watch the race carefully, up close, seemed to get a lot of mud in the face, gets shuffled back a little bit, comes back. At the top of the stretch, I'm thinking this horse, or even at the 8th pole, had no chance to get up and exploded and absolutely took off at the end and got up. You watch carefully, this horse does not like to lose, and you can just see in the strides when this horse wants to run. And again, last race, which I do like what the trainer decided to do, didn't have the horse close at all. Sat on the outside a little farther back and made that one turn, kind of one run, and kept going. Once again, I'm thinking this horse can't get up, and sure enough, she did it again. So any kind of trip, I think the horse is going to learn from that last race, which I really like. You got to watch out. That's one of my plays. The ups, not even an upset, kind of the co-favorite is the 6. The only the way I think this horse is also similar, getting better and better. Again, a great replay to watch. Watch how this horse takes off and then is geared down at the end. The horse clearly has a lot left to run. Got a good trip, but just how powerful this horse was. Plenty in the tank. Should have plenty in the tank for today. And after the 6 and the 10, kind of my next level horses is the 12. An improving horse, has been the Distance. If the 6 or 10 falter, maybe if both of them would have to falter quite a bit to win. If one of them falters, maybe that kind of helps the exactor play of getting the 12 in there. So I've got it 10, 6, 12 to kick off the Oaks.
Okay, what about you, Marshall?
Yeah, I see the race pretty similar to Stretch. I do want to mention that there is a scratch in this race that actually affects the race shape. So number 7, Ava's Grace, has been scratched. And to me, that was the worst. That was the speed of the race. Doesn't look like a ton of speed in the race right now. I actually think the 12 search results is going to go right to the lead. If you watch the replays on this horse, she's been nothing but impressive. And let's face it, she's done nothing wrong. One of the 2 unbeaten fillies in here. This horse could get loose, and I think if the horse gets loose, could definitely wire the bunch. Has some excellent works coming into the race as well. So this is a contender for sure. The 6 is my top choice, Travel Column. I like the fact that Brad Cox and Florent Giroux have won 2 of the last 3 runnings of the Oaks. So looking for a bit of a dynasty, I guess, if they can take this one. This horse has been training like a monster at Churchill Downs. 2 for 2 at the track. This horse has done nothing wrong, really. I thought that first race of the year, I'm going to give her that one. She came back strong last time in the Fairground Oaks. So this is my top play in here, Travel Column. Stretch mentioned Malathot, the 10, as a horse that at points near the end of the race, I don't know how she got there and got the win, because I was thinking, my God, there's no way that she can win. And that's after watching the replay and knowing that she won. So she's definitely a runner. She takes quite a while to get going, though. And if you in 5 and 6 horse fields, this is obviously a big field of 13 horses. So if she has to start and then stop and start again, I think that'll be a negative. So I actually prefer the 6 and 12 now on top. But those are my top 3, Kirt, 6, 10, 12.
Yeah, I respect both your Travel Column and Malahat. Both of those ran great races in their last starts. As you said, with the scratch of number 7, not as much speed in here. You even have Moraz, who has a little bit of speed. Search results obviously looks like the one that has the predominant speed, but has to cut over from post position number 11 to get there. But I like a little different horse in here. I like number 5, Pass the Champagne. Ran a great race against Malahat last time out, and that's where Marshall alluded to. He didn't think the horse would win because Pass the Champagne had a rail trip in there and twice had to kind of take hold and wait on both of the turns. Finally got through as they were turning for home. And I just think the jockey got a little bit excited. Castellano, it was the first time riding it. We had 3 different riders on this horse. So nobody knew what you get when you ask it to run. Now he knows what he gets. I think he pulled the trigger too early, got caught very late, and this horse just seems to be improving with each and every start. The time before, this horse just drilled him easily by 2 lengths, but that was only a maiden special weight and then graduated against the big horses, but proved that it is a runner. And I love that this horse has tactical speed. When it did get out of the gate, it took back off the lead, so it has that early foot to be in contention, draws inside with post position number 5. I think this horse is going to get a dream trip. I love the morning line of 15-1. So Pass the Champagne is my top selection with number 10, Malathat, and number 6, Travel Column. Okay, Stretch, what is your wager of the race?
Okay, so we're going to go with, we're going to start it off pretty quietly. We're not going to go too big here. Just a $5 tri-wheel. I'm not at your level, Kirt, on going to the $10 ones yet. I got to say, pace myself, especially the first race. $5 tri-wheel, 610 with 610 with 1, 3, and 12.
All right, over to you, Marshall.
Well, I'm getting out of the gate like a quarter horse, clearly, because I've got a couple of different bets here. I'm going to start off with a 60-cent tri-wheel. I'm going to use my 3 top selections in the first spot. So 6, 10, 12. I'm going to start to add some others with 3, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And then I'm going to add a few more. 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. I just want to mention the 2 horse trained by Rob Atras, a local ASD trainer many years ago, and then went to Woodbine, and now he's in the he trains at the Big Apple, and he's got a contender in the Oaks. So best of luck to him. I also like the Oaks Derby double. I'm going to use just 6 and 12, and I'm going to take my Derby selections, which we'll talk about in a bit, but 8, 9, and 15. So that'll be a $10 double club.
Okay, deep pockets, Marshall. I'm a little bit different in here. I'm hitting the win button on number 5, Pass the Champagne, 30 to win, $2 triactor wheel. The horses that ran 1-2 last time. Pass the Champagne, Malahat with 4 horses, 1, 6, 12, 14. That one will cost you 16 for a total of $46. Okay, now we carry on to Saturday's racing action. We're going to start in race number 7. And race number 7 is the Derby City Distaff. They're going to go 7 furlongs. There's going to be a massive favorite in here. Marshall, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, to me, this looks like a paid workout for number 4, Gamine. I just don't see anybody to run with her. And if you are looking for a negative, I mean, it'd be pretty tough to find one here. Just looks like she's going to go right to the lead and run the field off their feet. I do like for second place the 3, Bells the 1. The horse has raced 4 times at Churchill, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and has a huge work coming into the race. So I think there's no real pace for this one to run at, but I do think she'll finish second. So it's really 4-3 in here for me, Kirt.
Okay, what about you, Stretch?
All right, so Marshall's kind of said it. Basically, this is a good test. If you're on a losing streak right now in betting or something, this is a great race to test it. Bet the $2 on the 4, end the streak, and move on. Or see your test on the luck. If you're quite unlucky, bet the 4. If the 4 loses, wow, you are unlucky because, as Marshall said, there's not really any holes in this. You're going to get $2.10, but stops the streak. I use the 1 for second. That's the only thing I'm going to add. Take a look at the distance, or look at all the second place finishes for this horse, and so you've got 5 races at the distance, 5 seconds. You're getting a price. Why not? 4-1. The 3 is okay at the distance. It's always in the money. It'll probably run second, but let's use the second place angle. 4-1-3.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Gamine 1-9. At the top end, 1-5. But in a race that's lacking speed, and you got a horse that's tactical speed and just plain and simply looks better, I think this is a walk in the park for Gamine. Now, what you're going to have to do is go after the pick 6. Well, you can key it and make it a pick 5. Or you're going to have to go for maybe some pick 3 action, something other than the win bet. I like Bells the 1 to run second in here, but I am going to take a little shot with number 5, Hibiscus Punch. This horse has been running well, has a second at the distance. Here's one that's starting to come up the ladder, hit the grade 3 company last time out, showed really good form and a great running style as it sat just off the pace to get that win. That's what I'm kind of hoping. Gamine goes to the front, everybody else does the chasing, but if Hibiscus Punch can sit close enough to be in the top 3, I think definitely it'll stick around because everybody else is just going to be tugged along by the drafting, I think. So let's go to our wagers in here. We're going to start off with you, Marshall. What are you betting?
I'm just going to do a $20 exactor 4-3 and move on to the next race.
Okay, so because of the big favorite, you see his bankroll went way down from the previous race. Okay, so what are you going to do, Stretch?
Just a small exactor. I'm trying to get that 1 for second and get a good payout there. And take note, as look at the different size of bets on Marshall. He went big in the first race, not as much here. Picking and choosing, you can't bet the race the same amount in every race. You've got to adjust accordingly. So yeah, I've just got $20 in here. But Kirt, I see you're taking a shot.
Well, I thought usually you guys go after the pick 6, and I thought let's put it on my shoulders today. There's 2 horses I really like, Gamine at short odds, and later on, Colonel Liam. I had to go with those two. I had to make the ticket a little bit cheaper, as you know, it gets expensive when you got these 14 horse fields and end off with a 20 horse field. So I ended up keying those two, put together a ticket for $60, and I'm gonna try and ride that. I expect the pool to be about 5 million. So there is a lot up for grabs if you can get a couple long shots in there. Even with the two favorites, it's still gonna be a pretty good payout. Now we're going to carry on to race number 8 at Churchill. It's the Pat Day Mile, a grade 2 event, going that 1 mile distance. And Stretch, you're going to start us off.
Okay, thanks, Kurt. Yeah, good point on looking for the long shots. And you got to take a stand somewhere, and you did on that pick 6. So looking at race 8, this is kind of a wannabe Derby horses at one time. Many of them you can see if you look in the form that has that Triple Crown star or icon next to it. They obviously haven't made it. It's a little bit tricky for me because some of the horses would have been prepped to get to the Derby, and now they've got to readjust where they're going. Most of the horses here are cutting back, so I've got to determine, is the horse in kind of declining form or just not up to the Derby level? And so some of them didn't run that well last time, and so now the trainer's got to kind of backpedal and decide what they want to do. So I'm starting with the 6 horse in this race. I thought the horse is running fine, is just not at that top level. I liked a little bit of the cutback. I think the horse is going to just stalk behind the speed and then kind of take over late. My only little concern, if you look, is the 2 better performances were in the slop. I'm hoping that's not the case, that's the only reason the horse ran as well as he did. But that's just looking for the horse with the right trip. The next one is the 5. This horse, after 2 races, was touted as a big runner, then ran evenly. I don't think this horse can go 2 turns. I think that's the key to this horse. I think the horse does have talent, but maybe just the 1 turn somewhere around the mile, maybe 7 furlongs. I think you're going to get some value there, so that was my second selection. And then the last one, the 8 horse, could have almost been my top selection. The reason I didn't was because the horse has not had a workout at Churchill yet. And I do like to see horses that have worked at Churchill just to get used to it. It is a bit of a different surface than Santa Anita. And so that's my hesitant. Obviously, you look at the horses who it competed against, makes it right there. But for me, no standouts. I've got it 6, 5, 8. I could box those 3, but I'll leave the 6 on top.
Okay, what about you, Marshall?
I like this race quite a bit, guys. For me, the race shape looks like there's quite a bit of speed in here. I could see a heated pace battle in this race. Jackie's Warrior, the number 3, making his first start of the year. 4 for 6 lifetime, lost to Essential Quality, the morning line favorite in the Derby. So this horse will take quite a bit of action and support today, I think. But there's lots of other speed. The 11, the 10 are both going to be out there winging it, I think. So you want to look for a stalker in here, and I just really like the 8, Dream Shake. Stretch touched on the fact that this horse has been racing against some monsters in Rock Your World, Life is Good, and Medina Spirit, quite honestly, too, who I like in the Derby. I think this is a drop in class. I like the cutback to a 1-turn mile. I think this horse is just going to stalk and pounce. I've been watching this horse in every one of his starts, and I've been really impressed. So I expect a big race out of the 8. I do think that the one intangible or unknown is the track surface. Not all horses love the Churchill Downs surface, and because he doesn't have a work, that's a great point that Stretch made. That would be the only negative, but he has been working great at Santa. So for me, that's my top choice. I think the California horses are the horses to beat this year as 3-year-olds. I think they're stronger than the other contingents. So I'm going to go with number 4, Defunded. The Baffert horse, he raced with Dream Shake in his last start. Couldn't touch Dream Shake, but they're taking the blinkers off. Maybe he relaxes a bit early, and I think he'll come running down the lane. And I use the 5 Prevalence as well. This horse has run a couple of good races, cutting back into this one. So I think this horse could easily pick up third. So give me 8, 4, 5.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised you guys didn't use Jackie's Warrior at all. Was 4 for 4, went into the Breeders' Cup, ran a 4th place finish against Essential Quality, but ran a big race from off the pace that day. Started once this year in late February, again against Essential Quality. And, you know, I watched the replay a couple of times again this morning, and this horse had it pretty easy on the lead and really didn't put up a lot of fight down the lane, just kind of coasted in for a 3rd place finish. And that's why I didn't take Jackie's Warrior on top. But I think this horse will show a lot better of a race, and I don't think they'll go to the front in here. There is other horses to show speed, so Jackie will be coming off of it. But I definitely think she's beatable because I just didn't like that last race at all. So I took a shot on number 7, Whiskey Double. Here's a horse when Santana is on. He is 2 for 2. The odds on the horse, 8 to 1 each time. What's the morning line? 8 to 1. Little bit of an omen play, and this horse has a great off-the-pace running style. Last time it did win was 2 outs ago, getting up to win by 3/4 of a length. Santana was on for the maiden breaker, again on a stalking style, getting up to win. The horse is 1 for 1 at Churchill, which is always a bonus when you go over the a trip over the track. So Whiskey Double, I'm going to take a little shot here that it's going to be a big price because Jackie's Warrior will take a lot of money. I do like Dream Shake too. Marshall's pick in here, I think will run a good race. California ran against some of the big ones, and definitely if life is good, would have been able to make it to the Derby. That would have been one of the favorites without a doubt. And Rock Your World, undefeated. That horse has been running heads lights out in 3 starts. So those are my 3, 7, 3, and 8. So in here, what do you think, Stretch?
Well,
what's your bet?
All right. When you said Whiskey Double, I thought you were ordering a drink.
Well, I would like that.
I had to take a look over. Anyway, good analogy there on that for sure. I didn't include your horse. I went with the pick 5. My turn to take a sequence bet. It's not my favorite sequence because I don't have any keys, so I'm a little hesitant. I kept it to just 64.80. It's not a ticket I like to play too often when I don't have any strong keys, but I have contenders in each race. So I took the 5, 6, and 8, and then my next 3, which I do like the next race, 4, 12, 13, with the 2, 4, 9, 3, and 7. You'll understand why I've got to use both. I do like Kirt's key. And then I've got the 14 and 17 in the last. Have to take a stand somewhere because I didn't key. We'll leave it at that.
All right, what about you, Marshall?
Yeah, I'm just going to put $40 to win on the 8th. Keep it really simple in this one. I think I should get 3 to 1, 7 to 2, close to the morning line. So that's good for me.
And me, I'm taking a little shot, so I might as well go across the board. 10 win play show on the 7 Whiskey Double. Win or lose, I will have one in my hand. All right, here we go. We're going to carry on to race number 9. It's the America Turf going 1 mile and a 16th. Of course, on the turf. Marshall, start us off in here.
Okay, this is a relatively wide open race, I would suggest. I think that, unfortunately for me, I like the outside horses quite a bit, the 12, 13, and 14. My top choice is actually the 4, so why don't I start there? Annex has done nothing wrong in his short career, 3 for 3 lifetime. Doesn't win by much, so always gives you a thrill if you bet him. And he will likely be coming running down the lane today. His excellent come-home times, so that's something that you want to look for in the turf, how quickly they finish the race, as opposed to how fast they run in the early part of the race. A lot of them have very similar come-home times, but I think this horse just has the will to win. He's very game, so he's my top choice in here. He's beaten a few of them, again, not by much, but I think if you look at that race 2 back at Gulfstream, you'll see that it was crazy fractions, so it was a bit of a different race. He was up closer in his last. I think he'll be up closer today as well. So I like him the most. And then I went with Scarlet Sky, the 13, Rosario aboard. This is another horse that's not a whole lot wrong. 3 wins as well. Excellent come home times. Lost by a head to Annex. So those are my 2 favorites. And then I used the 14 Palazzi. This is a horse that raced with Scarlet Sky last time out in the Transylvania at Keeneland. Ran an excellent race, looked like the winner, but Scarlet Sky, who was last turning for home, came barreling to beat this horse on the shadow of the wire, and I think we'll be right there as well again. Of course, it all depends on the trip that they get. Hopefully they're not marooned too far, but because they are closers, they should be able to tuck in and then come with their run around the far turn. So give me 4, 13, 14. Kirt?
Okay, Stretch, what about you?
Okay, yeah, I see the race very similar to Marshall. And basically, I went with the 13 on top. If you compare that the 4 did beat the 13 2 back, I thought the horse got outridden in that race. I also like just how the 13 got even better off the last race. Again, that explosion from last to first, like that very much. I like the 2 works coming in on the 13. I think that horse is getting a little bit better. The 4 horse absolutely has talent. It's a smaller type horse, doesn't like to win big, and that kind of concerns me a little bit. And so that's why I put the 13 on top. My long shot in here, the sleeper that you really have to watch on some replays, is the 12 horse. It's one of my price plays of the day. Yes, it was 4th last time to the 4, but didn't have a great start. Was a couple lengths always behind the 4. Didn't actually lose ground in the closing, and if you watch the race at the end, inside the 16th, was gaining ground, and then watch the gallop out. The key is don't stop watching right at the wire, watch after. And this horse was ahead of them, all the horses at the end. And I think just because of the little bit extra, this horse has for me, a chance to upset and beat that 4 at a bit of a price. There is nothing wrong with the 4, does like to win. Again, it is about trips, but I'm going to go 13, 12, 4.
Well, I don't have a lot to add except Scarlet Sky. What I really liked about that last race, there was no pace in it. The fractions were really soft on the front end, and pretty well halfway through the race, you hear the announcer saying, well, they're not going that fast, and Scarlet Sky was all by itself, and it ran them all down. And the gallop out, impressive. The horse could have went around another time and it would have just widened on the field. So that's what I really like about that. And Stretch pointed it out, that race against Annex, I think it was a bad ride. Plain and simple, let's call it what it is. I thought it was a bad one. Could have beat Annex that day. And then going over to Annex, last time Annex ran, the gallop out was not strong. Was one of the last ones, one of the first to pull up. While everybody else galloped out nice and strong, Annex went to the outside of the track, pulled up really early. I never like to see that in a horse. And these jocks don't do it on purpose. They let the horse pull themselves up. So that's why I don't like that one. And I like Palazzi on the outside. This horse definitely, since they put the blinkers on, is a different horse. 2 wins, a second and a third. Equipment changes for young horses are everything, and Palazzi has seemed to find the stride. I think can get definitely a decent trip with all the speed that should set up for these closers in here. I don't see it being an insane pace, but it'll be a strong one, and I think closers will get there, so Palazzi is my other one. 13, 14, 4 for me. Okay, guys, so what are our bets? Let's go to Marshall to start things off. Marshall. Oh, whoa, Marshall. Wow, he went out for a loan, or what did you sell? Did you have a garage sale?
Oh, you kidders. Well, let's see what happens. I'm going for it because I think there's the possibility of this paying really well. So I'm going to spread out in the 2 legs where I think there's the potential for a long shot, and I like the 2 middle legs. So I've got 3, 4, 5, 12, 13, 14 with 4, 9, with 3, 7, and then I've got 7 horses in the Derby where I think there's obviously a number of chances in there. So yeah, $100.80 for a 60-cent ticket. But like I said, I think if I hit it, it's going to be well worth it.
No doubt about it. Over to you, Stretch.
Yeah, it is a good ticket, Marshall. I like that ticket. I went big. I rarely do a $10 exactor box.
Wow.
I'm going $10 exactor box because I do like this race quite a bit. And I'm trying to get my 12 in there, and I don't want to miss out if the 4 gets up. And so I think it's still going to pay even if the 4 wins. But there it is, $10 exact box, 4, 12, 13.
All right, myself, I'm on the same lines going against an exactor box, but I need a few more in there. I have 3, 12, 13, 14 for $36. This is the one leg where I wasn't really stuck on a horse, so I went to the box. Okay, let's carry on to race number 10. It's the Churchill Downs stake. They're going to go 7 furlongs, a grade 1 event for 4-year-olds and up. And Stretch, you're going to start us off.
Okay, since I am starting it off, I'm going to kind of cover myself and mention that I'm not completely sure on race shape. If you remember in the intro, I kind of mentioned that careful on this, and that's what I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not completely sure on race shape. We do have a 7 furlong race. That is, there's some horses that are specialists at the distance, and that's the angle I went with. Look for the best ones there. Started with the 4 horse, solid at the distance. Really liked this horse's last race. Great replay, actually. Bet this horse last time, didn't think he was going to win, and then when he got out, he was back to his kind of his old self. So I really do like that. Look at the distance as well. Mentioned 3 out of 5 wins at 7 furlongs. So I've got to use him. Not a prime play. Got to start there. Then I move to another horse at the specialist distance, and that's the 2. Likes the distance, has the back class, should get the stalking trip. And going from there. So I need that one. The 9, you're saying, why don't I have the 9 higher up? Look at the distance. He's great at 6 furlongs. That extra half seems he's got to run a little bit different. Hands down, does have huge class. When you see my tickets, you'll see that I have 4, 2, 4, and 9 in there. But I had to, like I said, I went with the 7 furlong specialists on top, and then just took the next best for third. So 4, 2, 9 for me, guys.
Okay, what about you, Marshall?
Well, it looks like Stretch and I are on the same page here. I think the 9, the elder statesman, the 8-year-old Whitmore, is razor sharp. He's come back in his 8-year-old campaign, and him and CZ Rocket, who has beaten in the last 2 races, they're some of the top 2, if not the top 2 sprinters in the country right now. 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs, obviously different, but I still think Whitmore, based on how sharp he is, he's got a nice bullet work coming into the race. I just think that he's in top form. I do think the 4 has a shot here. I think Flagstaff could go right to the lead, and if he's low speed, certainly could win it, coming off a nice G3 win at Keeneland in his last start. He has raced against Whitmore a few times, and Whitmore has beaten him. So we'll see what happens there. But Luis Saez, certainly, when he gets on the lead and he's loose, he can be really tough. So those are the 2 I like the most. I use the other distance specialist, the Mind Control, 4 wins from 11 starts at the 7 furlong distance. So lots to like there. Second start off the layoff. So certainly a horse that could win it, has a lot of back class as well. So those are the same for me. 9, 4, 2, slightly different order. Kirt?
Yeah, I think this is a really good betting race. Whitmore, definitely, I like it. I owe no money to Whitmore as it got me that pick 3 in the Breeders' Cup. I really liked it that day. And Whitmore has been running great since. And I think this horse, I think the key you guys said is the distance. The 7 furlongs makes it a little susceptible. I think it's going to take an absolute pile of money in here. Probably go off in the 3 to 5 to 2 variety. Flagstaff, I like that horse also, showing the speed angle. There isn't a ton of speed in here. Get the Prize, the 8 is another one that can offer a little bit of early foot. But outside of that, I like number 5, Tap It to Win. Here's a horse that ran really good in Saratoga. In the grade 1, ran second, then came back, run another good effort going a mile. But that 7 furlongs was just off the pace. Came back to Tampa, went in a restricted race, and absolutely blew the doors off him. Won really easily, and that's what I'm thinking. The 3 to 4-year-old transition for some of these horses is a huge transition. That is a growing year, and it looks like this horse put it all together in that last start against much lesser, but it's the way the horse did it, threw up a monster number, has a running style that I think fits the race really well. So I'm going to number 5, Tap It to Win. I'm going to put Whitmore underneath for second, and then Flagstaff to round out my top 3. All right, let's go straight to wagering then. All right, Stretch, what do you got?
I just got an exactor wheel. As mentioned, we're all kind of guessing a little on the race shape, but that's fine. I do like your 5. As you notice, I've got the horse in second there. So I've got a $5 exactor wheel, 2 and 4. Those are my horses I like best on top. And then the contenders underneath. One is a bit of a sentimental selection that I've won in the past, so I had to sneak in Fat Man, something like that. Anyway.
Hey, stop calling me names.
All right, go ahead, Marshall.
Okay, Marshall, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a pick 3 in here. I'm just going to use the 2, 4, 9 with the 3, 4, 7 and the 8, 9, 15. So I've added 2 extra horses from the pick 4 ticket. So hopefully if I miss the pick 4, hopefully at least one of my backups in here gets me through to the pick 3.
All right, I went after a pick 3 also, but I'm going after a $2 one. I'm taking my horses 4, 5, and 9, and then I'm keying Colonel Liam everywhere. If that horse loses, I'm in a world of hurt in my pick wagers with the 1, 4, 7, 14, 17, which will cost you $30.
Just looking at the picks, guys, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, somebody got 8 horses. You got 3 different, completely different ones. You're both betting the Derby? Just looking at that, that's how wide open the Derby is.
Well, that's the way we're looking at it, though,
absolutely.
that it is a wide open Derby. It's not essential quality. Let's close the program and fill out the bottom, because as you can tell, there's not a lot in there. I threw it as a throw-in. But yeah, like I said, this is one of the toughest Derbies, I think, and it's only 2 races away. But let's head to the next one. We're going to the Turf Classic, 1 mile and an eighth, 4 4-year-olds and up. And Marshall, you can start us off.
Okay, I like this race. I like the 3 that you've been talking about for sure. Colonel Liam is the now horse. Has been improving, 5 for 7 lifetime. Certainly was impressive in his last start. But I just don't think that there's a whole lot of speed in here. And that, to me, gives an advantage to number 7, Smooth Like Straight, who I think is the controlling speed, will dictate the pace of the race, has won a number of graded stakes races in the past, has a win over the Churchill Downs turf. And for those of you that follow Santa Anita, you know that Umberto Rispoli is a fantastic turf rider. So I have a lot of confidence in him. He knows this horse. And I think Smooth Like Straight at 4 to 1 or thereabouts is a really good play. I do like Colonel Liam for second. Count again. I mean, there's a bunch of horses in here that have excellent come home times. You got the 6 Digital Age, who is the defending champ, won this race last Derby Day, which was September, if you recall, of last year, and then had some trouble in the Breeders' Cup Mile. But again, the 6 and the 2, those are deep closers, and I just think their running style is going to be compromised in this race because of the lack of pace. And then Ivar, the 4, another possible contender, 5 for 8 lifetime. But again, he doesn't have a start yet, so I would have preferred to see a start in him. So I like the 7 on top, Colonel Liam for second, and I'll go with Ivar for third. 7, 3, 4.
Okay, over to you, Stretch.
Okay, I do like this race as well. I want to let Kirt talk more about the 3 because he's keyed all over it, so I don't want to take away his thunder. I want to give him full credit when he touts this horse. I will mention that for me briefly, that Marshall makes a lot of good points. 7 is the horse that could steal it if there's not a lot of other speed. The 1 mile and an eighth is kind of the key for me. The horse really needs a trip. If some rabbit goes out, then it potentially can set up for somebody else. Who is the rabbit? I'm not sure. I've got it 3, 7. My other horse is the 5. If we can get a duel, that horse comes up. That maybe the 7 quits and then comes late. That horse is improving each time out. I do like that. And the other horse, again, Marshall also mentioned, I would have had that higher. I think the horse needs one. watch out for this horse as the season or as the year goes, because I think that horse is a pretty good horse. So I'm going to let Kirt tell us all about the 3, because it's his all horse today. Go ahead, Kirt.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This is a horse I have keyed everywhere, but Colonel Liam has done nothing wrong. Irad Ortiz, he's 4 for 4 on this horse. Guaranteed he knows this horse better than anybody. And last time out, got up to win by a length and a quarter, looked great doing it, and was sitting a little bit closer than the time before, where he just got up in the final strides for the Pacific West Classic. But Colonel Liam, Irad Ortiz, this is a compact field, and that's what I like about it. When these riders can put their wares out there on a short field, it's a little bit of a chess match. So the guys that are the now riders and are doing really well, Irad Ortiz, everything he hops on runs lights out. As you can tell with Colonel Liam, 4 wins aboard. I think he's going to have this horse in contention. Am I worried about Smooth Like Straight getting loose? Of course I am. But I don't think Irad will let him get that far away. He'll be in a position to run him down the lane, hopefully, by the time they hit the turn. So that's why I went to Colonel Liam. Smooth Like Straight, definitely I like it. Speed of the race. Is someone going to go out, as Marshall said? I'm not sure, but if maybe the one might go chasing a little. Marshall, you did take Ivor. I did look at that horse, but I really don't like that percentage off 60 to 180 days. 4%. Kind of tough for a horse that's won 5 out of 8. If the trainer can't get the good horse ready, well, or any other horse, I just have a hard time taking Ivor, even though I think it has a good shot. So I took a shot on Digital Age to round out my 3 horses. This one's been running well throughout that last race at Keeneland. Just ran one of those flat races, but the races before that, back-to-back wins at Churchill, Saratoga, maybe just didn't like the Keeneland surface, is 2 for 2 at Churchill Downs, and Castellano hops aboard, who did win 2 outs ago and was on it last time and stuck with the horse. So there's nothing wrong with it when the jockey hops back on. So that's my other one in here. I went 3, 6, and 7. All right, bets of the race, Marshall. Wow. You're going lower.
I'm going to go with a $10 exactor box with my 2 favorite horses. I think the 7's out there winging it, and maybe the 3 runs them down, but I'll box them, and then I don't have to worry about it.
All right, now over to you, Stretch.
All right, yeah, Marshall's clearly budgeted, or doesn't think there's much left, so he's got
his top heavy.
Top heavy, yeah. I went with the tri-wheel. I have the 2 of them just as some coverage. I do like the 3 best. There's so many good points, as Marshall mentioned, on the 7. Put those 2 on top with the 3, 4, 5, 7 underneath. Kind of as if one runs out, then there's a price underneath, and I can hit the trifecta there.
And like you said earlier, all or nothing for me. I go $2 tractor wheel. Took Colonel Liam on top. Took 5 horses for second and third. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is one of my favorite bets. For a $2 wheel will cost you $40. All right, here it is, the Derby Race 12. Kentucky Derby going 1.25 miles. Nice little $3 million purse for these 3-year-olds. 1.8 mil to the winners. Okay, Stretch, what do you like in here?
All right, Kirt, exciting. It's story time right now.
Okay.
I've got a bit of story time. So the exciting part here is there's a very sharp businessman, very innovative. His nickname is Mattress Mac. And so what he does is obviously sells beds and mattresses and that. And he likes to make big wagers to kind of cover. So he for one of the bets that he made, if Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFL won the Super Bowl, everybody that purchased the bed or mattress would get it for free. So what did he do? He had to go bet a couple $1 million to kind of cover his losses. Well, everybody got their free bed. He won his bet. Brilliant. He's way ahead. Well, he's going to make a bet on number 14, Essential Quality, because anybody that's bought a bed or a mattress in the last, this week, I think, right up until the Derby, if Essential Quality wins, they get their bed for free. So he's got to cover himself. Brilliant move on this. He will be betting around at least $1 million on, he's already said it, Essential Quality, the favorite. So that, even in this pool, as big as they are, at least $1 million will affect the odds. It's a promotion. It is the real money that he's betting. He's not necessarily handicapping. He is just betting the favorite. So I know it's a long story, but the reason I'm telling you this story is this is going to make the favorite, the 14. No, is Essential 14 or 15? I'm sorry.
14.
14, thank you. Just looking at Marshall's picks. And so I had to make sure. Anyway, the horse is going to be a lower price than it should be because of this bet. So we've got 20 horses. You notice how we've all got different horses, different angles. The favorite has been winning at the Derby quite recently, but still, it's an undervalued favorite. I just cannot take him on top. I've got to look elsewhere. I'm looking for value. Marshall's going to give you a stats. Marshall's going to really make my pick not look so good, but I'm going to let him tell you. I'm going with the 17. I've watched this horse. If you look back on the Breeders' Cup Day, this horse was the first day of the races and wowed everybody. This was like, wow, they talked about this horse. Then had the layoff, raced in New York, didn't run great. Next race out, almost beat Essential Quality. I thought the horse got tired late. I don't know if the horse has to go to the lead. I really think that this horse is going to improve. They were separated by about a half length or so. The favorite's going to be $5.50. My horse that I'm giving you is going to be about $18 because the horse ran second. I watched closely. The horse just, for me, seemed to get tired at the race. Maybe there's word out that maybe that's going to bounce the horse. I'm hoping it's just going to improve and get the horse that much better to potentially win. So can he get the distance? I'm hoping so. For me, at $18, it's worth the risk for me. My second pick, I did go 14 just because the horse is a runner. You can't just leave this horse right off, or I guess you can. Number 9 is my kind of another horse in there. I don't think the horse needs to go to the lead. Ran second to the 14 last time. The only question is, again, another horse, can he get the distance? I think there's some value. Been close enough to the potential favorite. I went there. And then the last one is the 7 that everybody might jump ship on. Been the favorite so often, goes from $4.30 last time out to maybe $30 today. Again, I'm looking for value. You got to look for value in here. So 7 is not on the screen there, but that's my fourth pick. It's not an easy Derby for me, so for me it's all about looking for some value. So I've got 17, 14, 9.
Okay, what about you, Marshall?
Okay, I have a couple of different pieces of info I wanted to share with you guys.
Imagine that, stats.
Yeah. So I guess from my perspective on the race vantage point, it's a great betting race. It's a very challenging betting race. If you hit, you'll certainly be well paid. But keep in mind, it's like the only race of the year in North America where there are 20 horses. So a lot of it depends on who gets the trip. So keep that in mind, obviously. There's probably a ton of good horses you'll be able to get out of this race for their next start, just from a trip handicapping advantage point. Just some notes on the race in general. Post positions, Stretch mentioned he's picked the 17. I mentioned to him just before we went on that there's never been a horse that's won from the 17 post. So that's obviously a negative. There haven't been starters in every single edition of the race out of post 17. But regardless, it's one of the posts that has been unlucky, so to speak. Another unlucky post position I see Kirt's picked is the 1. Hasn't been a winner out of the 1 hole since Ferdinand won in 1986.
Perfect.
But having said that, this kind of ties into my next point, which is Churchill Downs implemented a new starting gate last year. And one of the reasons why the 1 hole or the first like 1, 2, and 3 positions were so poor is because of the way they used to position 2 starting gates basically to accommodate all 20 horses. So from 14 on, anybody breaking from the external starting gate would essentially rush down towards and push the field down towards the rail. So if you were on the rail or out of the one hole and you ran straight, you'd be running right into the rail. So basically, it's been a negative up until last year and now. So I don't think post position out of the one hole is a real negative, at least not as bad as it used to be, especially on a horse like the one. Doesn't need the lead or not going to have to waste energy going to the lead. So definitely that horse could win it. But for me, the California horses, the West Coast horses have been the strongest 3-year-olds in all the prep races. So I'm going to keep this Derby simple for me. I think that it's going to be a West Coast horse, and that's either the 8, Medina Spirit, Baffert horse, Rock Your World, who's 3 for 3, was impressive in the Santa Anita Derby, very quick fractions last time out, or 9, Hot Rod Charlie. Those are my top 3 choices. I don't think there's a ton of speed in here right now with Caddo River not coming to the race. I think Medina Spirit is actually going to go to the lead. This horse has lost to Life is Good and Rock Your World, and that's it. Been very game, so I expect this horse to actually go right to the lead in here this time. And Baffert at 16 to 1 or 15 to 1 morning line. I doubt we'll get that, but thank you. I will take that every day. And I think Rock Your World is a very talented colt. This horse could be any kind. Doesn't have a foundation of racing as a 2-year-old, but we saw Justify dispel that myth that you need to race as a 2-year-old a few years back when he had only 3 starts coming into the Derby. So it could be any kind. I'll take the 15. I'll take the 8, and I'll take the 9. I do want to mention one last thing, guys. There's always a horse that gets way over bet because of his name. My Boy Jack a couple of years ago. Then there was Pletcher's Feel Good Story horse, Patch, the one-eyed horse, a couple of years ago that was way over bet. So there's always going to be a horse like that. I think it's going to be Soup and Sandwich this year. The horse will not offer any value. It's a catchy name. People will probably gravitate to it. That or maybe even the 9, Hot Rod Charlie, just because of the name. People like to bet on their friends or uncles that they have named Charlie. That's it, guys.
All right, so you like a few horses in there. You're going the California way. Me, well, I'm going down to the rail, Known Agenda. This horse has really turned it around from the 2 to 3-year-old campaign. Started off promising, losing to highly motivated in the first lifetime start for the maiden allowance tag. But in the last 2, this horse has really put it together again with the addition of blinkers. Won the allowance condition first level and then came back and ran in the Florida Derby. And this horse looked powerful going on by. Easily wins by 2. I like that there isn't a clear-cut speed horse, as Marshall said. I think there's going to be a cluster up front. I think it's going to be like 4 across the track. There's going to be a big wave at the front, and the deep closers are probably going to be a little closer than they usually are. Probably not going to be 20 lengths back in the field, going the distance of 1.25 miles. So this is going to turn into a little bit of a rider's race in the middle. Known Agenda, I think, has that tactical speed to be close. And with there not being a clear-cut speed horse, now's where the instructions come in from the owner and the trainer. Who are they going to say, let's gun to the lead, try and steal it? Because even in an 8-horse field, 2 or 3 horses get the same instructions. So in a 20-horse field, who knows how many are going to come up with that. So I think there will be a pace to run at. That's why I like Known Agenda on the inside. I have a nice little bomber that if you were going to say last year that this horse would be 50 to 1, you'd say I was crazy. That's the 4-horse, Robertino Diodoro. This horse got in at the last minute after 2 lackluster finishes this year. Last year ran lights out, had a win 2 seconds and a third, lost to Essential Quality in a couple of big efforts. So far this year hasn't been able to get it going. But what I do like, an equipment change, blinkers off, and look at that workout. That really stands out to me. Went over to Churchill Downs and blazed a half mile, 46-1. All these guys are top trainers, but Robertino Diodoro, you've seen him do much better with some horses that have the same type of form. Yes, this is against the big horses, but this horse has talent. It showed it last year. I'm thinking if it can revert back to that form, I will take 50 to 1 all day long. So that's why I threw him in. And I took Essential Quality for third, one of 3 horses that are undefeated in here, Rock Your World being the other one, and Helium. The only thing I don't like about Essential Quality is that last race, he just kind of looked average to me, not going by highly motivated like I thought he would, absolutely blowing past him. It was edging, and just getting up, and they were all out to get there. I think this is going to be an absolute great betting derby, so let's go right to our bets. Okay, Stretch, how you ending it off here?
I'm ending it off just with an exactor box. That's going to be the bet I'm posting. Probably come race time before, I'll be playing a bunch of little different things. Looking for value. Just a $2 exactor box. Had to spend a little more. Boxing 7, 9, 14, 17.
Okay, over to you, Marshall.
Well, I hope my pick 4 is alive, so I've got 7 horses coming home. But this race, I'm just going to keep it simple and box my 3 favorites, the California contingent, 8, 9, 15.
Yeah, I went after the Superfecta. They changed it from 20 cents up to $1. Makes it a lot tougher to get a lot of horses for your money. But I thought I'd take a shot. I took the 1-4 with the 1-4, 14, 17. I added one, and it cost me $36. But with the long shots that I have at 50 to 1 and 10 to 1, that could be a $10,000 ticket right there. Any Superfecta in the Derby will pay boxcars. But we'd like to thank everyone for joining us here at ASD Live for our Kentucky Derby preview. And just a reminder, live racing right around the corner, May 17th. Mark your calendar. It's a Monday. We race the Monday, Tuesday, 17th and 18th the first weekend, and then it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for the 48 days that go after that. Good luck with all your selections in the Derby. Hope it's profitable, and we'll see you back on opening day.